I meant to show more of my creepy doll collection over October, but I guess I didn't get around to that. I got too excited about other projects and other things that I was finding. But today we can at least look at my favorite Monster High, my favorite Monster High dolls. I've turned these ones into action figures. We have ones that look more dolly coming up. I took away all their clothes, put on matching accessories. I just love, this is Create a Monster, Inner Monster. These were the last Create a Monsters that they created. They made them do even more, so we're kind of working our way backwards. But I mixed and matched their parts and gave them monochromatic outfits and stuff, even though they're not wearing many things. But you can see here that they're really, really cool in the way that they are. I'll show you some details of, I don't know which one's easier to mess around with, but vines and just little creepy elements. And you can see their rib cage in their body. And then there's like things like this. Look at this like tornado gypsy mummy. Oh wait, can you say, you can't say gypsy? You can't talk about gypsies. I guess you can. They're real. But no, it's supposed to be a genie, mystic genie thing. And then we got scorpion wings, and we've got crazy jelly hair. These molded on hairs. Of course, I'm going to like that. But the big theme you're going to see today is, and might have something to do with why I like these so much, is because they did have practically bald heads. Now you could get hair wigs for some of these, but I think by the time these ones came out, they were giving them like more helmets. But we have these exposed brains that you can press, and you can shift their eyes. They have 3 different eyes, and oh man. And then these detachable parts, and then I do talk about how I don't like spindly little doll arms, and it's why I don't like made-to-move Barbies very much, and why the only problem I have with Barbie bodies are that they are so spindly. But because their heads are so big and their arms are so thin and they're so they look alien-like, so they look so cool. And then not to mention this translucent pulsar body. Like, I can't, like, this is such a crazy part that I love this so much. And you can snap this open, and the theme for these was they came with little tiny little emoji things that you could put onto their inner skeleton cavity. See how they have holes, so you could put little logos and stuff. I guess I could pull out some. I think I have them designated. What I should have did was put their matching color ones from the different, I didn't want to separate the ones, but they had all of these little emojis, little symbols and stuff that you could plug into the holes to give them like personalities, or tell what they care about, or I don't know, maybe what they hate, because they're monsters. But they're so cool. I mean, look, you can even make her look like a skeleton body. But then this translucent thing, like, this is absolutely Pulsar in 1970s action figure that, I mean, I can't handle it. This is so cool, and I love the sculpting of the faces. And yeah, Mattel is the master of face sculpts for sure. They always, I mean, every doll company can't compete with the faces that Mattel put on their action figures and dolls. So these are very, very cool. I love, of course, that they have these wigs that can be interchanged and stuff. And then you can see that I monochromatic them up, because that's just the kind of thing that I do. And then they have other parts here. This is all of the paint on these things, I noticed, did wear off on things, unfortunately. But I've got additional wigs, some really cool wigs from those things, and extra body parts from some multi-packs. But those are coolness. I actually did start to play with those a little bit before recording this video. But let's move on to the original Create a Monsters. Those were inner monsters. And then these had Color Me Creepy and other things. Oh, but these aren't the Color Me Creepy. Oh, some of them might be. I don't know. That's more of that's coming up, don't worry. So I have put the outfits that came on some of these. So often you would get a 2-pack of 2 different dolls, and then you'd have outfits, and sometimes you'd have 1 or more pairs of shoes. The earlier packs, I think, had more accessories, and then the later packs, they start taking them away, so they had to share shoes and stuff. So some dolls won't have shoes, but then there were some packs that were like fashion packs and stuff that I have added. But we had, I don't know if I can remember what these are. This is an ice monster, obviously. So then they give her this ice formed dress, and this was before many of the characters were created too. So they do make monsters that they ended up making, and then this one was like some kind of gelatin monster. They're make your own, so they didn't have names. You could call them whatever you wanted. Oh, but they did say what they were. Oh my god, is it ice and slime, ice and globs, something like that. Anyway, these 2 are definitely my favorite because translucent bodies, I can't. Translucent shoes, very, very cool. That pink wig that we saw belonged to her too, which is, I mean, total coolness. Oh yeah, you can see the globs on her dress. And then we have a dragon, this girl. So she came in very scaly, and look, they put parts on their bodies, and you are again supposed to mix and match these, like my Masters of the Universe action figures, where you pull out the parts and you snap them together. Oh, and I see that they didn't always come with pieces of torso. Sometimes they came with 1 torso, and I think you had to choose. You couldn't create both monsters, but then some packs you could create both monsters. So some people came with specialized torsos, and some came with ones that had blank torsos. But this one, we've got this lizard girl. Like, this is so creepy. This looks just like V, and I love the texture on the legs. The only thing that I'm missing here, and they did make it later on, was a robot girl, and I would really like to get that. And LED, I think, was what they named her, and I'm gonna have to thrift one of those. I did have a couple of those, but I sold them because they were new in box and I never opened them. But hopefully maybe I'll find one at a thrift store one day. So we have a Halloween cat, so that's kind of cool. So kind of witchy cat. She would have come with ears and a real wig. Did I mention the reason why I like these? Of course, if you watched any of my other videos, I am known for unhairing all of shaving all of the heads of all of my dolls and just using bald dolls and just using sculpted hair dolls, because it's just an extra something that I don't want to deal with. But I do like the fashions and stuff. So here we have I guess she's a vampire with the gray skin. So just more of a normal colored torso. I think her boots probably, or is she a witch? Oh no, we can tell by I guess we can tell by the dress. She's got fangs, so I guess that makes her a vampire. Very, very cool. Nice pieces. Look at this dress with this extra shrug. 2 pieces, and they always have holes in the back of their things, so you can plug in different accessories like wings. And then I guess we have to finish off the one. Here's the vampire girl. She's actually one of my favorites. She looks good bald, I think. I guess it's because of her bright lipstick. And I like her dress. And you can see very, very Monster High. Just very, very old school Monster High. The original Monster High, but even better, because all of the parts can come apart and you can mix and match them. And then this is also one of my favorites. Now this couldn't have been before Cleo, because Cleo was one of the originals, but they made a generic mummy doll where she's got the sculpted on mummy wraps, and they gave her a super Egyptian face with a super Egyptian dress with, look at the hieroglyphics on that. Very, very cool. Like in the gold painted details on her body too, which was, something that detail that and effort that they put in toys back in this time period that people really like and miss nowadays. But I'm more of a simplist, so I don't miss that part of toy production. Now here's the witch, green skin. Look, this is Elphaba before they even thought about doing that. A very, very cool. Cats. Look, these shoes are amazing. Monster High shoes were always amazing. So a belt accessory. Look, a dead bird on her turtleneck. I mean, this is coolness personified. And then who do we have here? We have a swamp monster, a ocean monster. So I mean, Laguna was already invented, so I don't know what's going on here. But they have another sea creature, very cool, with gills, even creepier than Laguna. I mean, much creepier than Laguna, which is why I like these, and that's why I like how generic these are. Okay, and so then also, which this is going to be the segue to the next collection, is that, what's this, wait, oh no, there's one, oh, no, yeah, no. Okay, so then there were add-on packs. So they did not come with bodies, and you had to use your original dolls to put on these accessories. However, you could get some kinds of generic bodies in some sets where you could print faces and body art, and then there are Color Me Creepies and different other kind of create a monsters where they'd still have all of the mixing matching parts, but you'd have these generic bodies. So I've used those to put these fashion packs on that I have, just so, and they would give you parts of the legs. You wouldn't get a full body or anything, but you would just get the arms to put on, so anything that was more exposed. I tried to find colors of these generic bodies in my collection. I do have a few more that I didn't. Color Me Creepy. This was where you could add hot and cold treatments and color their arms. You can see how you can tell that there's some color change, strangeness happening there. But, so I put these fashions, and we're going to see soon where I used their heads in other applications. So this was a three-eyed monster, and then this was a ghost outfit, which I should be showing the shoes. These were just the add-on packs. And then this was the harpy, I believe. This one's really cool. Again, the shoes are amazing. I really did want to keep the dresses and everything together. I mean, ideally I would put the heads on these things, and then before Skeleta, this is a good example, they made this. So this was before Skeleta was even invented. They made a generic skeleton monster. And then we have Insect Girl, so like a bee girl. I ran out of yellow bodies, so I had to put her on a pink. This was kind of the thing that they told you to do, to mix and match with all of the different bodies. And then this one, this is a good that I did it last, because she was the mermaid. So this was the mermaid girl, but we're going to see why she doesn't have the mermaid tail on her right now. So let me put those back so you can see how cool and bald and how really cool the fashions are. But that's when I took Create a Monster to a different level. And then we introduced Slate, always dressing up in costumes. Which this is kind of a great costume that Slate has on himself. But Slate, this video isn't about Slate. Should I get to? I guess I can show these. So some of those like generic heads I wanted to use on the Cave Club boy body, and I had matching raincoats to go with the bodies, so I wanted to make some aliens. I believe I did this on this channel. I think I've showed the collection of this weird Slate thing that I do. The heads fit on so perfectly. Like, I mean, he's shorter than the Monster High body, but he's got the same hips, and he has the same head size. So the collaborations and the mixing and matching I can do is pretty wonderful. So I guess we should start with this one, where it clipped right into it. So you take off the legs, and this clipped on because the hips were exact same size. So it was a perfect match. He turned into a mermaid. I used some Barbie accessories for his arm fins and for his neck fins. But I mean, he looks like he's wearing makeup. He looks like, they all look kind of like Egyptian gods. They all look like some kind of like like ancient gods, and that's what I was creating with these. That's what really made me exciting. That's what I think has been missing. I'd love more mythology in toys. I really wish that they would do more stuff like that. But we're not ready for him. Okay, so I showed you the three-eyed monster. So this is what happened with the three-eyed monster head. I made him into like an Indian god. Really cute. Again, giving him Barbie accessories. And then we had here's a good one. Here is the bee girl's head. So this was the insect head, and I say use the glasses too. So that's an example of that going on. And then, which is this one? This one would have been the... oh no, these three go like here. Okay, there is the ghost. Oh no, I'm missing one. I have the skeleton. The skeleton's the best one, but I have Skeletor's head on it somewhere. I have to maybe hunt that down. Here we have the ghost, and a really cool one. I love this Blade Runner makeup on it. And I mean, I just think he looks really cool, shirtless, with these different heads on. And then this one was the harpy. So I don't know what I have him dressed up like this, but I don't know. I like the makeup heads on these little brown bodies. They look like little Egyptian soldiers or little Egyptian gods, and kind of one of my favorite parts of the collection. Hey, this would be for, I think this is for her. Okay, so I don't have the skeleton head right now because I put it on. I dressed him up as Skeletor. I guess I'm not going to hunt her down. But, oh, that's really cool because I used these knuckles from a WWE figure to put on his hand. And then I thought this Monster High skirt. I guess all of these are like generic Monster High skirts. These are pants from... those are Hasbro pants from I don't know what movie. I forget what movie. I might have to hunt. I guess you're gonna have to look at one of my other videos for the skull head. It's there. It exists. And then they had three different ones for this was Color Me Creepy, I believe. And these were the three. What was it? Do I remember? I guess it was Color Me Creepy. They had two sets, and they had a deluxe set. So this was the deluxe set, and this was the first one that made me do this, because it was my favorite doll. Actually, I don't think it is what made me do this. It was all of these extra heads that I had, and no bodies to put them on, which made me do this. This one I wanted to keep. This was my favorite Monster High doll. It came from the play set, and it was just this, what was she? She was some kind of like, I don't know, creepy goblin monster with no really, like, she could be whatever you wanted, and she just looks creepy with her. So I just made goblins, and I thought, why not use my favorite Mattel body with my favorite Mattel head, which has the same exact peg, so it fits perfectly, and it just making these little goblins. And then they had two other sets that you could get, and one was werewolf and one was sea creature, I believe. So another sea creature, and I had to make all three of them. So they are kind of a set, but they were a special. And if I'm not, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the Color Me Creepy collection. And then, oh yeah, and this one gets this crown because this crown came with the set. This is a Barbie accessory. These are probably WWE accessories. These are Barbie accessories. This is I love these necklaces. I used it. This was from a mermaid series that had amazing color. the color change ones, whatever, you stick the paint and the paint comes off them, whatever they're called. I can't believe. Color reveal. Oh my goodness. Color reveal necklaces. That one, this one. I guess those are the, oh, and this one, which is so good. I can't believe I don't have the skeleton here to show you. But yeah, this guy turned out the best with his skeleton head. So coolness, cuteness, awesomeness, all at the same time. That is why these are my favorites. Check out my other videos. I'll try to link it at the end of this one, where you can take a look more in depth at these little slate monsters. But is this the only Halloween video I'm going to do this year? Maybe. Those are some of my favorites. Some other notable mentions for Monster High favorites are Monster High Family, which I definitely have to look at, and then I do have some left that I have to sell, but I did sell most of my Monster High collection. I liked G2, go figure, more than any other generation. Something that I should mention about Monster High, when they came out in whenever 2011, 2012, they were $12, $15. Now in Canada they cost $40 or $50 for one doll. That's the price that they start at, and that's yeah. So I do not like that. They're really nice, but I can't. It can't be done. I don't like them that much. All right, thanks so much for watching me today. Happy Halloween. Hopefully I'll have another Halloween video on Halloween. Let's go. Until then.